If deploying new versions of your software gives you anxiety, this is the video for you. There are 4 sources of risk when it comes to deploying new software versions. Those things are code, unexpected user workflows, data, and configuration. First, you need what's called a staging server. This is part of the solution. We're going right to the solution. You need a staging server. What a staging server is, it's a production environment that has configuration that is optimally close to your production server. But the production server is where your real work is being done. The reason why you need a staging server is because you're writing code in the development environments and in the test environments, and both of those environments have different configuration. And you can run into problems when you deploy to production where you have different configuration, which is a source of risk. So by having a staging server, you can go in and QA your new code on a staging server, and this nullifies your configuration risk. Next, when you're testing a new feature on staging, you always want to test it with respect to breaking the feature. Test to break is part of the next part of the solution. The reason why this is important is because developers are in the mindset of they start from nothing, they start from brokenness, and then they end up at a solution. So they're always working as fast as possible to just get something to work. Users are 100% going to use your application in ways that developers did not code against. Your intent with QA, which is short for quality assurance, is to break the new feature set. If you QA with this mentality, you have protected yourself from unexpected user workflows. So we cross that out. Unexpected user workflows is solved by testing to break. Configuration, we cross that out by having a production-like, as close as possible to production, a staging server. We pushed a feature yesterday to one of our clients' applications that added filters to a page like this. They had name, address, sign up date, and balance. I went and QA'd it on the staging site, and I added these 4 filters, and then I removed all of them. And on the last one, when I removed it, it remained on the page. So when you're developing software, you're coding with respect to adding filters and maybe removing one filter. So I coded it, or I tested it on the QA server staging with respect to breaking the feature. Finally, and this is the most controversial thing that I'm going to say, on each deploy to your staging environment, you want to copy the production data over to it. The downside to this is that you have an additional attack vector for hackers to hit your application. But you can write a script that flashes the production data onto staging when you're in QA mode, and then you can flash it again with dummy test data after you're done testing it. That's going to reduce the surface area of your risk to hackers attacking your staging server in addition to your production server. The reason why this is critical is because unexpected data is another major source of risk when deploying software. In a proper environment, developers are working against fake data on their computers, but real-life data has unexpected side effects. Another feature that we worked on recently was importing about 10,000 user addresses. And we wrote the feature, we wrote the data import, it worked in development, but it was using a string column. A string column in a database has a maximum of 255 characters. When we actually went and deployed this to production and actually imported the real data, we actually had an issue with our data migration because 6 out of those 10,000 addresses were longer than 255 characters, which is ridiculous. So the third part of our solution is to use production data. And what this allows us to do is, when you combine these 3 parts, having a staging production-like server, QAing with respect to trying to break the feature, that's a critical thing, because otherwise, if you're just testing to see if it works, that's not good enough because users are going to be hitting your application in unexpected ways. And then finally, if you test against production data, you've reduced your risk of software deploys by a massive margin. This is how you get painless software deploys.